Expect the White House to expect even more legal challenges. I spoke to Harlan Ullman. He's a senior advisor of the Atlantic Council, an American think tank in international affairs. He thinks the troubles for President Trump will only increase.
As this investigation unfolds and Junior Trump finds himself in more and more trouble, I think you're going to have more Republicans saying we have a problem here, because technically, Trump Jr. broke the election laws because he solicited aid from somebody representing a foreign government, or so he was advised. Now, whether that remains to be seen, but certainly ethically and technically, he made a huge error and he should have known better. So not only can you say that this was not just a rookie mistake, this was really a profound error. And there are going to be more and more errors as Trump's policies are seen to be more and more hollow, and more Republicans are going to be more and more uncomfortable. How long this will take to play out, who knows? But my guess is that sometime next year, this will come to a head before the 2018 election.
You just wrote a piece, everybody's writing about Trump. You just wrote a piece about trap. Break it down for us. And by the way, it was in The Observer, which is Jared Kushner's old newspaper.
TRAP stands for Trump, Russia, America, and Putin. And I think Mr. Trump has become trapped by Russia. I think his meeting with Putin was extraordinary. Not that it went over 2 hours, and you have to realize that half the time was in translation, so that it really wasn't a 2-hour meeting. But nothing really was achieved. Yes, there may be a temporary ceasefire in Syria, and yet this notion of a cyber group was at least bruited. But why they didn't arrange for a really serious summit sometime in the immediate future to discuss these issues is beyond me. Now there's a small group. The Russians are meeting with the Deputy Secretary of Defense here. There's a new Russian ambassador, Anatoly Anatov, who will be here shortly. But it seems to me that that meeting should have at least produced a summit sometime in the near future, because the United States and Russia have huge issues, a few which are common interest and many which are not. There needs to be serious talks about where we can agree and where we can't. That should have come out of the meeting. It did not. And I think for the time being, Mr. Putin has trapped Mr. Trump on the issue of Russia. This was a great political victory for Putin at home. He was lauded, seeing great respect that President Trump said it was an honor to meet President Putin. Went down exceedingly well in Russia. It did not go down well here. And the question is, what's next on the agenda? Where do we go from here? There are no answers to that. My view is that Mr. Trump has trapped himself vis-a-vis Russia.
Talk to me about the United States, its standing on the international stage, how all of this plays out in terms of the international field of things.
I think Mr. Trump has singularly devastated America's standing overseas. President Macron of France, and then Mr. Trump is flying over to see Macron for Bastille Day on Friday, said that the West is divided. Chancellor Merkel of Germany said that it was despicable that the United States has withdrawn from the Paris climate agreement. I think all these things show the United States' status and influence abroad are in huge decline. Mr. Trump is held in hugely low regard, and I think the standing of the influence of the United States is at a low point. Can it recover? Of course. Will it recover? We'll see.
And the legacy of the Trump presidency, will it always be mired in the Russia case?
My only hope is that the legacy is that it's a very short presidency.
Harlan, we'll leave it there. Thanks so much.
My pleasure.